Damn, son. Feels like I ran a marathon. And by that, I mean running to the bank with it. Shit. Let's keep stacking. Yo, what up, everyone? It's your boy Debo, Debo's Picks. A lot to unpack today, my peoples. I am going to go as far back as Friday, recapping the NBA play I had, as well as another NBA play I had on Saturday. Recap my Sunday plays that I gave out, as well as the ones that I wasn't able to post a video on that I played, and offer my picks for Monday Night Football, sprinkling it with some NBA. Let's get into it. Starting off with an NBA play I had back on Friday. As you see down below, I had Lillard going over his points, Wiseman going over his points, Josh Hart going over his rebounds, and Andrew Wiggins going over his rebounds. This was a straight 4-pick power play, 20 in, 200 out. That's what's up. Then I had another NBA play on Saturday consisting of a 5-player flex. I had James Harden going over his points, rebounds, assists. He didn't make it happen. But then I had Tatum going over his, Donovan going over his, Tyrese Halliburton going over his, and lastly, Luka Doncic going over his points. So that was a 4 out of 5. It's still a W. I doubled up on my bread, and that's what's up. Now moving on to my my NFL plays. Now keep in mind, I'm not certain exactly which ones I didn't post and which ones I did, so I'm gonna go through them real quick. Here's my first 5-player flex, consisting of Tony Pollard going over his rush yards, Derrick Henry going over his rush yards, Josh Jacob going over his rush yards, Mike Evans going over his receiving yards, and Jamar Chase going over his receiving yards. That's the first sweep, $200 right there. Then I had a 4-player flex consisting of Derrick Henry going over his rush yards, Mike Evans going over his receiving yards, T. Higgins going over his receiving yards, Josh Jacobs going over his rush yards, and Tyreek Hill going over his. Obviously, we'll get Tyreek Hill later. He didn't make it happen, but that's a 4 out of 5. I don't believe I gave this one out. Then I had another 5-player flex: Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, and lastly Rachaad White. I believe I gave this one out. This was a 4 out of 5. Rachaad White didn't come through. I think I'm going to start fading the Bucks outside of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They're falling apart, man. You get that woman back, Brady, man, because God's making you pay, bro. I'm telling you. Anyway, my next 5-player flex I definitely didn't give this one out. This was a late pick I got in on Sunday. David Njoku going over his receptions, Gano going over his field goals made, Tony Pollard going over his rush yards, Lamar Jackson going over his rush yards, and lastly, Jamar Chase going over his receiving yards. So that's another clean sweep right there, $200. Then I got another one, Josh Jacobs. I didn't give this one out either. The Josh Jacobs over his rush TDs, Joe Mixon over his pass rush receiving TDs, Graham Gano over his field goals made, Jamar Chase over his receiving yards, and Lamar Jackson over his rush yards. So that's another sweep. And then, of course, I had the pick I gave out earlier in the week before the lines changed, and it pretty much did for every single player on there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, it was Henry over his rush yards, Jacobs over his rush yards, Jamar Chase over his receiving yards, Mike Evans over his receiving yards, and lastly, the one I wasn't really worried about, Tyreek Hill. The only one I was concerned about on that list was actually Mike Evans, but he never has a back-to-back dud game. And when he does have a bad game, Brady likes to give him that ball, feed him that rock the following game, make sure he has a solid one, and he did with 9 catches for over 90 yards. So it was 4 out of 5 anyway. It's still a W, but unfortunately, I definitely expected a sweep. I'm sure a lot of you did too. This was my favorite play of the week, consisting of these 5 players, I should say. But obviously, it never came to fruition. But overall, I did offer a play that was a sweep. Hopefully, y'all tailed that too. I know one of yous, my day ones, y'all mentioned that you only played one of my 5-player flexes, and it was the one with Tyreek Hill in it. But hey, you still won some money. So it's not the worst day, but it definitely could have been better. But how about we try to make that happen tonight with some Monday Night Football and NBA picks? Now, let's get into it. Starting off with this 5-player flex here, where I have James Harden going over his points. And then I got Jason Tatum going over his points, rebounds, and assists. And then I got Kevin Durant going over his points, Kyrie Irving going over his points. And lastly, Patriots fantasy defense going over 8.5. I really liked only 2 plays in tonight's game. I hate these standalone games. They make me want to throw up, especially when it's two putrid offenses. They don't do much. It's just going to be ugly. I expect the Patriots to win this game easily. I do like Ramondre Stevenson, but you got Damian Harris coming back. He's not even, they don't even have any prop bets out for him yet. So I'm just fading it all together. I just want to win some money. I'm not trying to do a whole 5-player flex on just the football game alone. I just don't want to force the issue. So I'm just going to take what I like and I'm going to use the NBA with it. So that's my first play. And my second and final 5-player flex would be James Harden over his points, Tatum over his points, rebounds, assists, Durant over his points. By the way, I saw Durant on the LIE in his Lambo. Just letting y'all know. That was pretty dope. And then we got Kyrie Irving over his points. And lastly, we got the Patriots sacks going over 3. So those are my picks for today, guys. My bad if I'm a little off today. I am exhausted, barely on any sleep. But listen, man, at least I got the picks into you guys right now. Let's keep it rolling. Best of luck. I see y'all on the next one. Peace.